Hello princesses! Today I'm going to be talking about the Peripera Ink Blurring Skin Tint. I picked this up because I was extremely interested in it. I used to use the Peripera Ink Drop BB cream, but that has been discontinued and the shade was really good. Unfortunately, this shade is a lot more peachy in tone than the Ink Drop BB is, which I'm extremely sad about, but I think it was worth trying out anyway because I just really like Peripera products in general. I have to say though, I was not expecting it to be this small in comparison to the Peripera lipsticks. Like, it's a tiny foundation. This is 30 mils, which is not that much smaller than a lot of other foundations. So the product description says, no need for an app to correct your selfie, even skin texture. Light and seamless adherence, fresh feeling skin. And like the first makeup of the day, perfect coverage. Okay, so this is what my skin looks like beforehand. I've done all of my skincare routine, including using a sunscreen. So I have some breakouts down around my chin that need to be covered, and then a couple of really old scars up on my cheek. But in general, I don't have any acne, they're just scars at the moment, so that's going to make things a lot easier. The packaging of this foundation is very cute, but I do find it a little bit tedious to use sometimes. The bottle is really squeezy, and a lot of the times I squeeze out either way too much or way too little of the foundation, which does bug me a little bit. I have shade number 1, which is Ivory Color, which is a really good light toned shade. But in comparison to my perfect shade, which is NARS She Glow in Siberia, it does lean a little bit more peachy than what I would like. I wouldn't say that it's neutral, I would just say that rather than being yellow, it's more of a peach colour. So to apply this, I put it on the back of my hand. It's like the really squeezy bottle. You can see that the colour isn't quite right for the back of my hand, but the back of my hand is much more tan than the rest of my body. My favourite way to apply it is just using a cushion puff. This is one from the Sem, it's like a Minnie Mouse one. They're fine, they're not super great. And I find this foundation really easy to apply. You just pat it in, although sometimes it can pill if you use a moisturiser that does not suit it. And so as usual, I will do one half of my face, all you can see is the mirror, and then I'll show you what it looks like in comparison to the other half of my face. Okay, so that is what it looks like when I've done one half. This is the half that I haven't done. And then this is what it looks like when I have applied the foundation. The colour match really doesn't look so bad. My neck is losing its tan quite quickly, which is good because it was like an entirely different shade before. But you can see that there isn't that much coverage for my chin area and my cheeks. You can still see the scars pretty badly. So I'm going to quickly do the rest of my face. So this is what it looks like when my full face is applied. I did apply a little bit more to my scarring because I had a little bit more left on the back of my hand, but I feel like this isn't the most easy product to layer up. It does tend to start to get streaky, which I really dislike. So I'm going to show you what my skin looks like up close. So you can see around my eyes that it creases quite quickly. So I'll need to blend those out before I put powder on them. And it does actually accentuate the pores around the sides of my nose. I feel like they look much more textured and obvious than they normally do. And then around my chin you can still see the scarring. It definitely has medium coverage, especially because I've put 2 layers on at the moment. That is a birthmark, not a scar or anything. But it's definitely not full coverage. It does say that it has perfect coverage and it will even your skin texture, like there is no need for an app to correct your skin, but I mean, I thoroughly disagree with that. But I think for Porcelain Princesses it is a really nice light shade. If your skin leans a little bit more peachy, it's going to be perfect. For me, I wish it was just a little bit more yellow because I can see a slight difference between my face and my neck, and I haven't put any like brightening products on my neck at the moment. So I think if I really wanted to make it match, I would just use a little bit of my sunscreen, which is the Etude House Syndrome Mild Defense Sunscreen, which you probably have seen quite a lot, and it'll just brighten up my neck a little bit. But I don't think it's too bad, really. I haven't really been needing to use this with this foundation. So I'm going to do the rest of my makeup and I will check in with you guys later. So it has been 5 hours since I put this foundation on in the morning, and I wanted to show you guys what it was looking like at the moment. So you can see under my lip that it's starting to cling to the dry patches. And it looks really cakey, which I really dislike. And the same with around my nose because it is a little bit dry around my nose at the moment. This side isn't too bad actually, it's more this side. It's really sticking to those dry patches. And around the fine lines around my eyes. Someone left like a really rude comment about my eyes recently saying that they have wrinkles. they're really not that bad. Like, I am in my 20s, I'm not a teenager, get a grip. But I don't have too much deterioration in terms of oil around my T-zone. It's staying pretty steady so far, and we're not losing too much coverage because I've just been editing videos. I'm about to go out for work now. So I'll check in when I come back from work, which should be around about 8 hours after I put this on. Okay, so it has been 8 hours now, and I'm sorry my face is looking a little bit blue because there's no natural lighting anymore. But the ring light was just a little bit too bright, so we're going to suffer through it for a couple of minutes. This is what my skin looks like at the moment. The foundation is holding up pretty well. It is just past the 8-hour mark. My lipstick is totally awful, but when I take my glasses off you can see like a clear glasses dent. So any type of friction, this foundation does come straight off, which is disappointing. And you can definitely see that it's starting to cake up, especially around my mouth is really bad. And around, yeah, the chin and the mouth is the worst. The nose isn't great, so you can see where the glasses have been and where they kind of sit here as well. So when I smile, that is where the glasses sit, and you can see that that's been pretty much rubbed off. But I will check back in with you after my dance class tonight, so I've got another 3 hours I think, and then I'll check back in again. So this is what my makeup looks like at the end of the day. It is 10 PM at night, so the makeup has been on for 13 hours now. Tuesdays are a really good day to test makeup because I'm out for such a long time. So this is what the makeup looks like at the moment. Please don't mind the gigantic white cast on my face. The ring light is making my face look way lighter than it normally is, which I say in pretty much every video and nobody believes me. So my T-zone is really oily and my makeup is really starting to melt and become quite sticky. So especially around where my glasses have been, you can blend it back in, like it's not that problematic, but even up around my eyebrows, the sides of my nose, you can really see like lines of foundation. It looks particularly bad around my mouth, so you can see it's breaking up a lot on the upper lip as well as underneath the chin. It's really broken up there. And of course my pores are like super noticeable, so not the best longevity. Don't get me wrong, for 13 hours it's not awful, but it's not the best either. I am still actually on the fence with this foundation. There are a lot of good aspects about it, but I just don't feel like I reach for it because it's not as good as some of the other foundations that I have, both in terms of colour as well as coverage, texture and longevity. So for the good things, I think that it is really easy to apply and it gives good medium coverage. It is a fairly pale colour and it lasts pretty decently for up to around about 8 hours on my skin. The things that I don't love as much is that it's really hard to build up the coverage. It just starts to get streaky and patchy, and even around my eyes I noticed that there's some really bad streak lines that I didn't see the first time. I didn't really see it until I put powder on it. I find that for me it really accentuates my fine lines and my pores. I think that around my nose the pores are just so much more noticeable when I'm using this foundation, and when I powder my skin I feel like it looks much more powdery than it normally does. So I use the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and this usually doesn't change anything with my foundations, but with this foundation, I don't know, it just looks dry. The colour, although it isn't bad and I think that I can pretty much get away with it, it is a little bit more peachy than I would like. This is just being really picky. I would like it to be just that little bit more yellow rather than peach, but that is me and my skin type in particular. And finally, I find that after 8 hours it starts to degrade very quickly and my skin starts to get pretty oily around my T-zone, especially my nose. I think that on camera it actually looks much nicer than it does in real life. So I cannot see from this distance any of the pores or the fine lines, but in reality, I mean, I can see them, but I guess people don't really get that close to my face. I think I'm going to continue using this, especially for travel, because it is such a little container. It is quite easy to get the foundation out, but like I mentioned, like it's very squeezy, so the tendency to actually put way too much on my hand is there, or way too little and I have to go back and get more. But in general, I think that it's going to be good to travel with because it's a really soft plastic. It's going to be, you know, pretty sturdy, especially if it's getting crushed by the multitudes of other products in my travel bags. But those are my thoughts on the Peripera Ink Blurring Skin Tint. I will continue using it. It is not the perfect foundation and I prefer, honestly, the Ink Drop BB if you can get the Ink Drop BB still, which you pretty much can't, which is why I haven't been showing you guys anymore. I do prefer that one, but this is still a really good alternative. And I would definitely recommend number 1 Ivory cover for princesses who are pretty pale, not the most pale. So NC10, I think it'll still be a little bit too dark for you because I'm a bit tan at the moment, but on the warmer tone of the scale. So I don't think this is going to be as suitable for neutral skin tones and definitely not for cool skin tones. But if your skin leans more peachy than it does yellow, then this is probably going to be a very good choice for you. Thank you guys so much for watching this review, and I'll see you next time. Bye!